roots of beef jerky. Beef jerky, a popular and protein-rich snack, has been a staple of human diets for centuries. Its history is deeply intertwined with the development of food preservation techniques, the need for portable sustenance, and the cultural practices of various civilizations. This chewy, flavorful dried meat has evolved from a necessity for survival into a widely enjoyed delicacy with a rich and varied past. The origins of beef jerky can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where drying meat was one of the earliest methods of food preservation. Long before refrigeration, humans had to find ways to prevent meat from spoiling, especially during times when fresh food was scarce. The technique of drying meat likely began out of necessity, with early humans discovering that drying meat in the sun or over a fire could extend its shelf life significantly. In many parts of the world, different cultures developed their own versions of dried meat. The indigenous peoples of the Americas, for instance, were among the first to perfect the art of making jerky. The Quechua, a group of indigenous people in South America, are credited with developing charqui, a term that is believed to be the origin of the word jerky. Charqui was made by cutting meat into thin strips, salting it, and then drying it in the sun or over a low fire. This method not only preserved the meat but also made it lightweight and easy to carry, making it an ideal food for long journeys or times of scarcity. In North America, indigenous tribes, particularly those in the Great Plains, were also adept at making jerky. The Plains Indians, including the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho, relied heavily on bison as a primary food source. After a successful hunt, the meat from the bison was cut into strips, seasoned, and dried, often over a low fire or in the sun. This method of preservation allowed them to store large quantities of meat, ensuring a stable food supply throughout the year. Jerky was not just a survival food, it also played a significant role in trade. Indigenous tribes would trade their jerky with European settlers and other tribes, exchanging it for goods such as tools, weapons, and other food items. The practice of making jerky spread as different groups encountered each other, and the technique was adapted to various types of meat, including venison, elk, and moose. When European explorers arrived in the Americas, they quickly adopted the jerky-making practices of the indigenous peoples. The portability and long shelf life of jerky made it an invaluable food source for explorers, traders, and soldiers. As these groups ventured into new territories, they brought the practice of making jerky with them, spreading it across continents. During the 16th and 17th centuries, Spanish conquistadors and missionaries in South America also encountered charqui. They were so impressed by its utility that they began producing their own versions, using beef instead of the traditional llama or alpaca meat that the indigenous peoples favored. This adaptation was largely due to the introduction of cattle to the Americas by European settlers, which provided a more abundant and accessible source of meat. The Spanish word charqui gradually evolved into the English word jerky, as the practice of drying meat became more widespread among English-speaking settlers in North America. The process remained largely the same. Meat was cut into strips, seasoned, and dried using low heat from the sun or a fire. As European settlers pushed westward across North America, jerky continued to be a vital food source. Pioneers and frontiersmen, who often faced long journeys through remote and inhospitable terrain, relied heavily on jerky as a primary source of sustenance. It was easy to make, store, and transport, making it an essential provision for those exploring and settling the Western territories. During the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865, jerky became a crucial part of soldiers' rations. Both Union and Confederate troops carried jerky with them as they marched through the countryside. Its long shelf life and high protein content made it an ideal food for soldiers who were often on the move and had limited access to fresh supplies. The importance of jerky to the military continued into the 20th century. During both World Wars, jerky was included in soldiers' field rations. The ability to pack protein-rich food that wouldn't spoil was invaluable in maintaining the strength and stamina of troops in the field. The production of jerky was scaled up to meet the demands of the military, leading to innovations in the process and the commercialization of jerky as a packaged product. The commercialization of jerky began in earnest in the early 20th century, as advancements in food processing and packaging made it possible to produce jerky on a larger scale. Companies began to market jerky as a convenient and healthy snack, emphasizing its high protein content and low fat. The introduction of vacuum sealing technology in the 1960s further revolutionized the industry, allowing jerky to be packaged in airtight bags that extended its shelf life even further. As jerky became more widely available, its popularity grew. It was marketed not only as a snack for outdoor enthusiasts, such as hikers and campers, but also as a convenient food for busy people on the go. The 1980s and 1990s saw a boom in the snack food industry, and jerky became a staple in convenience stores and supermarkets across the United States and beyond. The flavor profile of jerky also began to diversify during this period. While traditional jerky was typically made with simple seasonings such as salt and pepper, modern jerky makers began experimenting with a wide range of flavors. Teriyaki, barbecue, and spicy varieties became popular, and different types of meat, including turkey and chicken, were introduced to cater to a broader audience. While beef jerky is often associated with North America, its influence and popularity have spread worldwide. Different cultures have embraced the concept of dried meat, incorporating local flavors and techniques to create unique variations. In South Africa, for instance, biltong, a dried, cured meat similar to jerky, is a beloved snack, traditionally made with beef or game meat and seasoned with vinegar, salt, and spices. In Asia, dried meat products have a long history as well. In China, rugan, a type of dried pork, has been enjoyed for centuries and is often seasoned with a sweet soy-based marinade. Similarly, in Thailand and the Philippines, dried meat snacks are common, with flavors ranging from sweet to spicy. In recent years, the rise of health-conscious eating has further boosted the popularity of beef jerky. Consumers are increasingly seeking out high-protein, low-carb snacks, and jerky fits the bill perfectly. This trend has led to the emergence of artisanal jerky brands that focus on natural ingredients, grass-fed beef, and unique flavor combinations. The growing interest in sustainable and ethical food production has also influenced the jerky industry. Many consumers are now looking for products made from organic, hormone-free meat, and companies are responding by offering jerky that meets these criteria. The use of alternative proteins, such as plant-based jerky, is also gaining traction as more people adopt vegetarian or vegan diets. The history of beef jerky is a testament to the enduring human need for nourishment and the ingenuity of our ancestors in finding ways to preserve food. From the ancient practices of indigenous peoples in the Americas to its commercialization in the modern era, jerky has remained a constant, adapting to the changing needs and tastes of people around the world. As we look to the future, beef jerky's evolution is likely to continue, reflecting broader trends in food production, sustainability, and global culinary influences.